What gets you going in the morning? A lot of us look to our cup of espresso or whatever form of caffeine we can find to get us that jolt to go in the morning, but the problem is it's not sustainable. How do we sustain energy throughout the course of the day? Well, today's guest is somebody that, in my eyes, has mastered the whole concept of energy and sustaining it throughout the course of the day. I am super excited to be having the conversation today with the guest, Tim O'Brien of The Healthy Place. He is just one of the most incredible people that I've ever met in my life. What do you do, like in the morning? I mean, are you like, yes, let's go? Or are you like, oh, okay, I'm gonna ease into this? Because, I only see the yes, let's go guy.
I am an extrovert. So when I meet or connect with a person, energy comes out, even if I am very sleepy on the inside. Okay. So you might be surprised to know when I roll out of bed, I am not super duper excited for the day. Okay. I kind of rather sleep a little longer and wish my babies would sleep a little bit better. I got 4 kiddos and our newest isn't sleeping very well. So like the rest of us, I roll out of bed and I am shaking it off for a minute.
Yeah.
So that is definitely a part of my morning. And I do really like 2 cups of coffee in the morning.
Oh.
That's important for me. And here's how I substantiate it. Chlorogenic acid, the active compound in the coffee bean, is anti-cancerous. There's a good amount of science and an increasing amount of science and reason to believe that drinking a couple cups of coffee per day will have therapeutic benefits to the body. After my coffee, I will have a greens powder, which has about 70 different superfood greens in there and fruit antioxidant content. Throw a couple scoops of collagen in there too, and that shake is like the most powerful thing I do dietary-wise every day. It has the amount of nutrition and content, you feel fantastic. So that's what gets my cognitive, my focus, my recall. That nutritional shake, I had it right before this conversation. And I feel great. My body feels better because of it.
Yeah. Here's the story I heard. Do you climb on your Jeep in the morning?
I think what you're referring to is in the mornings, I like to climb on my Jeep and wave goodbye to my kids to the upper story window of my home. Is that what you're hitting on here?
Maybe? Yes, it is.
It is super fun to do something different each day that'll sort of break into the children's memory. Years from now, they can think back and be like, dude, like my dad would climb to the top of his Jeep and say goodbye to us. Like some sort of way, like that, my belief is that it'll add a little extra on top to be like, dang, he really loves me.
Yeah. First question, how would you describe yourself as a child?
I think as a child, my main responsibility, or what I believed my main responsibility, was to bring peace in the home and around me. There was a bit of chaos, a bit of dysfunctional, my parents ended up getting divorced. So that was sort of my main responsibility, and I would take that seriously. So I mean, I'm thinking 7, 8, 9, 10, through my teenage years, that's sort of like the role I played. And I really valued it because I knew I was making a difference.
Post-high school, what happened in the life of Tim?
Yeah, so my teen years were a little rough. I mentioned my parents got a divorce, and there was a lot of chaos in the home. And so my reaction to parents getting divorced was anger.
Okay.
Like anger turned inward, and it turned into anger pointed outwards, authorities in my life, teachers, people who cared about me at church. I don't care because I don't care about myself. And it was a dark set of years. Got into things I shouldn't have got into, and only by God's grace did I get out of it. So when I was 18 years old, I had a pretty powerful experience, a God experience in my life, where in that moment I realized, man, I have value. Like I actually have been created for a purpose. I have value. And that thought started growing in my mind to the point where if I have value, then I need to value myself. And if God likes me, then I should maybe consider liking myself because he's the one that made me. And that turned into me believing and understanding that other people had value too. And that I like other people.
I actually like other people.
Yes.
Okay.
So then, from the darkness to the light, so to speak,
Yeah.
I'm like, whoa, I have value. Life is a gift. Health is a gift. It's worth fighting for. I wanna help other people, and I didn't know what that looked like.
Okay.
I want to make a difference in other people's lives. I want to remind them that they have value, and I want to remind them that their life has value and that their health has value. And so that was a pretty big experience when I was about 18 years old.
Wow. It sounded like there was like a singular event that was a little bit more paramount than others. Am I reading that correctly?
Yes, there was like one night that I had this like experience where I just saw with clarity my life. And
Can
I'm
you
like,
give me some details on that?
yeah, it was like I was like a puppet. Like, okay, so if I don't care about life, don't care about myself, don't care about other people, like I'm just being like controlled and letting myself be controlled by like darkness. So in that moment, I was like, well, why? Like I at that moment, you know, I knew I believed in God. So why is this my life?
Yeah.
And I just had that revelation. And so then in that moment, I said, well, no, I don't want to choose darkness. I want to choose light. So then I said, hey, God, how's it going? You know, what do you think about us having a relationship?
Yeah,
You know?
yeah.
And from that moment on, it was like this victory of now my life, I want it to count for something. So it was taking notes from him. It was kind of like I was in the driver's seat of my life.
Yeah.
And in that moment, I said, hey, God, do you mind taking the driver's seat? I think you might be a better driver than me.
That was like around 18 years old? Okay. Where did you take it then? From there, like you knew you wanted to help people, and there's so many ways, you know,
Yes.
you can help people.
So I'll share
right?
the backstory.
Yeah.
My mom had cancer when I was 5 or 6 years old, thyroid cancer.
Okay.
And that battle, chemotherapy, radiation, all the side effects that come with that,
Was that before or after the divorce?
that was before the divorce.
Oh, wow. Okay.
She went to a health food store in a little town called Muskego, Wisconsin.
Okay.
And she met a guy named John, and he took her by the hand and would talk to her for hours every week, educating her on natural alternatives that could help, that have good science and reason to believe that they could help her in her condition and her side effects.
Yeah.
And that experience changed her life to the point where she got a job as a manager at that very health food store. Us kids were homeschooled growing up, and so we would go to the back room of this health food store and do our studies. So I just grew up learning about this and that and this natural alternative, and watching my mom take other people by the hand and educate them on natural alternatives that work. Okay. So that became to just be something that was infused in me, into my DNA. When we had an issue, there'd be a natural alternative to try before we go to the doctor or before we go get pharmaceutical drugs or over the counter. So that was just a part of who I was. So after I had my God experience when I was 18, I pray this prayer. I'm like, what should I do with my life? And then right after that, this opportunity opens up to work at a health food store. And so I'm working at this health food store 3, 4, 5 months. I'm like, I really like this. And I'm still praying this prayer as I move forward, like, okay, is this a career path for me? Is this the way that I can make a difference in the world? I'm passionate about health and wellness, natural alternatives. I have this passion to encourage people and try to impact and change their lives for the better, remind them they have value, that whole thing. So what is the best way for me to do that? So then, pretty close to, it was about the 6-month mark that I was working at that health food store, I got offered an opportunity to work in Madison, Wisconsin, to district manage some GNC franchises. Okay. So it was this very cool, like, sort of progression. I was like, okay, so I get this job at a health food store because I'm trying to figure out what I want to do with my life. I'm finding out that I love it, and then super quick, I get this opportunity to do it on a larger scale. So working in Madison, district managing some GNC stores, you just start to see what you're doing on a larger scale. So that just solidified all my passion, and it reached a point where I started thinking, man, okay, I'm kind of passionate about sourcing, kind of passionate about quality, forms of ingredients, and in this model that I was at, I wasn't really believing that I could help people as much compared to if I started my own company and my own health food store.
Oh. And how old were you at that point?
I would have been about 23.
Wow, early. I mean, in my mind, that's young.
Yep. 23 years old, and it took a couple years. Started thinking about it more, asking the questions, what would it look like, what would the costs be? Yeah. And at that same time, I meet Becky. 2007.
Okay.
This super cute girl across the room. I'm like, she's cute. So 2008 rolls around, our friends, our groups are hanging out together a little bit more, and I started to take a shining to Miss Becky. I walked up to her after church one night, and I said, this is a little too forward, so I just want to acknowledge that. And I said, I've taken a shining to you, and I'd like to court you unto marriage.
I love it.
So
Only Tim. Only Tim.
yeah, that's what Becky said, is only I could have gotten away with that. So she said, okay. And we started sharing our life stories.
Yeah.
And her mom fought through a health battle when she was younger too.
Oh, wow.
And that is how her mom found natural alternatives.
Okay.
So she had this in her history as well. And she went to school for graphic design. Are you seeing the magic here?
Yeah, yeah.
So all that combined, we get married 2009. And we start the business in 2010. So the Healthy Place, way back 2010, Fitchburg, Wisconsin, first store, set on a mission to impact and empower and educate every customer to learn, grow, and create a lifelong foundation of health and wellness. That's our mission statement.
You decided to start a business within close proximity to getting married, which is also another set of stresses.
I think Becky and I both have this like mindset of life is short, like life is a gift, and we have this unbelievable power to impact people, whether it's a small scale or a large scale, and both are equal in beauty to me. Saying hi to that person at Target, making a little bit of a difference in their life, or starting a business and helping hundreds of thousands of people. To me, both are equally a miracle, because there's a choice in life to be a light or to be a darkness, and there's not much in between. So I think Becky and I both shared that. So there's this like sense of healthy urgency of like, life is short. What are we gonna do to make it great? So we were both on it. We were ready. You know, we knew we wanted kids too. I mean, that came shortly after the business, and it is intense.
Yeah, why not add more stress to it, right?
Well, the way to fix stress is to add more stress. It's like a double negative. So we've always sort of been ambitious, but we do get into trouble. I mean, we bite off more than we can chew, and then we have to take more supplements to manage our stress.
All right.
It's great marketing.
So then as you look through, the progression from those early years of the business to now, was there ever a time in that journey where you faltered?
First off, the first year of business, I thought we were going to go out of business. I did not think, I was starting to wonder, like, maybe this is just a good lesson in bankruptcy. Like, is that why I'm doing this?
Yeah.
And there was a good year time after we started 2010 where I didn't know if we were going to make it. And every day it was stressful, and every day you're tracking the numbers. And there was this point where I was praying, and I was praying for more sales. And I remember getting the sense of, do you care about souls as much as you care about sales? And that sort of struck my heart, where it's like, okay, you're right. I need to do what's best for the community, no matter what that looks like, and not worry about the sales, or try to give God the sales, so to speak, and not have my focus be on that.
Yeah.
So that was sort of the first year, faltering, like just struggling through the first year of, is this going to work? The first major mistake I made in the company that had significant consequence and significant negative impact to the company and to my personal family was an employee that was toxic that I needed to let go and didn't let go for years. So I let that person fester inside my company, and it grew to a point where it was very burdensome to the family. So I would call that my largest mistake. In my, that whole idea of, man, you got to be aware of what's going on in your organization. You've got to take it seriously, got to hold people accountable. And if somebody is dysfunctional, you need correction in place and a escalation model that leads to their exit if they don't become healthy. So that was my first major mistake. That was 2013 to 2016.
Yeah. I think that's something that every business owner that has employees that they go through at some point or another. I mean, from talking to other business owners, I can say every one of them has mentioned something similar to that and similar about that to me. But now on the flip side, think back to, if you can, think back to your first, wow milestone.
Yes.
You know that?
Groupon 2011, baby.
All right.
I'm not kidding. I mean, we sold 450 Groupons, and in 2011, when we were getting 7 customers a day, that was incredible. I mean, I walked in the next day and there was a line at my door. And I will never forget that feeling. And I remember tearing up and saying to Becky, I think we're going to be okay.
Yeah. Did it? Well, there's
because that was just coming out of that first year I mentioned of are we going to make it?
Yeah.
And there was this beautiful, because we had our first baby at the end of 2011. So there was this, I mean, the amount of money, and Becky, we knew that she wanted to quit her job to be a stay-at-home mom, and that's what I wanted too, if she wanted that. Yeah. And we both wanted that. So we had to make enough money in order to take care of things by the end of 2011. September of 2011 is when Rosemary was born, and she was going to hand in her notice. So we were just coming out of month by month, just making enough to cover the bills. And then November 2011 is when we got hit with that Groupon. 450 sold. Awesome. We had a line at our door the next day.
That's awesome.
That was my first major victory.
Wow.
In business.
All right, we're off to the races now. This is good.
Yep.
So how many years was it then between then and when you decided to start manufacturing, producing the product that you're selling in the store? Yeah.
It was a progression. The first major part of my puzzle, if you will, of putting together the business was figuring out the right model. The 5 foundational supplements that are best for every customer. So discovering that was powerful to help both our community feel, look, and be healthier. And it was really healthy for business because I had these consistent 5 that I'd go to. So it was just simple, it made sense to our customers, and it worked. And we were getting high quality forms of nutrients, which is why people were seeing a greater level of impact. So from 2011 to 2015, that's what helped us grow. That was like a primary driver. And then, word starts spreading a little bit that we kind of know what we're talking about at the healthy place. Helping people find because there's such a wide space, supplements, brands, forms of nutrients, sourcing. There's so many questions. It's a very confusing concept. So people need to find somebody on their team to help guide them, and we were thankful enough to be able to provide that for our community in Fitchburg in the Madison area. So then 2015, we opened our second store. 2018, we opened our third store. And through that process, we were selling more and more supplements. So being in the industry my whole life, you start to find out what works, what doesn't work, what forms of nutrients are better for this or that, and what combination of ingredients are going to be the greatest and most successful. So there was a point where I had a probiotic. I was like, I would really like to see a probiotic that has the bifidum, lactobacillus, Saccharomyces boulardii, prebiotics, because this is gonna help people more. And there wasn't a formula that was just like that. So I'd piece it together. I'd piece 2 or 3 different products together to form that. And I was like, why don't I create my own product? So that was, I want to say, about 2017, right in there. That was our first product. That was our brand. Lively Vitamin Co. was born. And now we have 102 formulas that we have created. Lively Vitamin Co. and Wild Theory CBD oils.
So does 102 formulas mean 102 products?
Yeah.
Okay.
So there was a point then that these are working really well in our stores that we said, well, why don't we sell this business to business?
Yeah.
So that was like 2020. Great year to start selling it to other businesses.
Okay. What kind of businesses are you selling?
Other health food stores.
Other health food stores.
Yep. Okay. That's kind of my passion, is this independent health food stores in America.
Yeah.
They're the primary educators in the natural alternative supplement space because we just see the most volume of people. Yeah. So naturopaths, acupuncturists, chiropractors, we all educate on it, and health food stores just see the largest volume of people. So once that clicked, that on a sky level, there's professionals that know so much more than me and on the natural alternative space. And what part we play is we see volume. So we can educate and encourage and find these breakthroughs, these life-changing breakthroughs for people's health, which brings them more towards natural alternative thinking. So once I discovered that point, I became more passionate about fueling and strengthening the independent health food stores in America.
You know, I'm just looking around here. You know, I see, for example, on that wall, there are 5 pictures. And 4 of the 5 are family-based. We look over on this wall, all that family values, you know, that core thing. And then above all of that, you have a mural back there that also represents family as well as other things.
How do we take our heart, like the purpose and reason that we've built this business for the community, and how do we break it down into a concise, understandable set of concepts? And there's really 3 main sort of like messages that we'd want. It's like this whole idea of like learn, grow, and create. Like you can learn, grow, and create, and it's our responsibility to help you in that journey, specifically by impacting you and empowering you and educating you. So that's like concept number 1. Concept number 2 is, man, we believe health is worth fighting for. And reminding people of that, it restores hope into people's lives, because they forget that health is something that they personally can fight for. Some get lost in, only I have to go to my medical doctor, or I have to do what others say instead of taking health into my own hands and doing something that's has the ability of impacting. So that's like the second concept. And the third concept we really wanted to portray is that like we're doing this together as a family. And these are our 3 kids. We have a 4th baby now, so we got to fit a baby in there somewhere. Henry, Oliver, Rosie, and we wanted to like remind people that family is such a gift, and think about your family and remember your family. And we're doing this as a family from a business standpoint, and so there's a lot tied into that, because much of the world's going corporate, and you can lose the heart sometimes when you do that.
Yeah. Do you have 2 other store locations?
Yes.
Do you have the same mural there, or do you have versions?
Same one. Same, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Over here to this side, there is CBD products. Okay. This is something obviously that a lot of people have had different thoughts about.
Yeah. So 2017, CBD hits the stage, and initially I didn't want anything to do with it, because as I shared, my teen years were pretty dark. I got into a lot of drugs, didn't care about my life, my studies, didn't respect authorities, got into a lot of trouble with the police. I mean, it was just bad news. And when I had my experience when I was 18, where I'm like, man, I want to do something with my life. I want my life to count for something. I quit smoking pot. So then 2017 comes, CBD. I'm like, no, that's drugs. So then I had to gain a little education, and my mentors in this space started saying, hey, Tim, if you care about people, you'll pay attention to this CBD conversation, because it's helping relieve chronic pain and stress, anxiety, depression, sleep issues. So I brought it in 2017, and in Madison, dude, we were the first to the marketing waves. It was so exciting, the first to hit it. And once we realized it was a little bit of a race, we hit it, and we hit it hard. And we just cranked marketing. I mean, it was everywhere. And friends would call me, and family, and like, Tim, I can't even sit down and eat dinner without hearing your voice on the TV somewhere. It was really fun, really exciting, and it helped our business grow to the next level. So now, fast forward 2023 here, we are selling CBD and THC products. So within the Farm Bill, the 2018 Farm Bill, it allows for THC provided it hits a certain level or under a certain threshold by dried weight.
Okay.
And so in the gummy world, you can get Delta-9 THC, 2.5, 5 milligram, even 10 milligrams Delta-9 THC, even though the conversation is still going on for medicinal or medical license, making it legal.
Yeah.
So now this last year, dude, we have been seeing another surge of people looking for relief, people that are suffering chronic pain, stress, sleep issues, and they've tried other things. Maybe they've tried CBD by itself or other natural alternatives, and this addition of THC with the CBD is tons of testimony. So this last year again has been super exciting and helping a lot of people.
Interesting. What would you say to somebody that, because I can think of a few people that want to try it, but they still have the
stigma.
Yeah, stigma.
Yep, I get it. I had that same thing.
Yeah.
And so what I would say to those folks is, THC can be abused. And as a teenager, I abused it. You can flood the cannabinoid receptors and you can be stoned all the time and eating Cheetos and not be healthy, okay?
I'm sorry, that's funny.
This is our picture.
That's what I ate too.
Right.
Yeah.
So using it medicinally and using it responsibly is up to the user. So yes, we can sell it and we'll encourage people. If you take one gummy, for example, 2.5 milligrams THC, you're not gonna get high. You will feel relief. You will feel calm. You will sleep better. You will have pain relief. Now, if somebody's in a more chronic situation, they might need to take 2 or 3 gummies, in which case you will get that high. That psychoactive component will kick in, and people need to be aware of that. Now, some people really like that, and others are like, I'm trying to never do that. So that's a whole conversation, and there's a segment of both that are important to be sensitive to.
Yeah.
I would say do what is best for your health and what you feel good about, and let that be the guiding force.
And my experience with working with people in the store when I've come in is that obviously if there's anybody has questions, reservations about anything, you and your team of people are incredibly good at explaining things and taking the time. It is the experience in your store is the bar that others should try to reach when it comes to customer service. It's awesome.
I mean, that's everything we've attempted to build at the Healthy Place is you have to touch their heart before you ask for their hand.
Yeah.
Like we need to show people that we care about them. There's reasons we don't do a commission basis.
Yeah.
It's because we want people to know that our wellness consultants are giving them the best information based on it being the best information, not because there's a $2 kick on it. Not that that's bad, I'm just saying.
Yeah.
So consultations are really our difference maker. It's knowledge, it's empowering people, and it's being happy while we do it. We're having a good attitude at least.
Yeah. You mentioned something earlier in the conversation about souls and now about sales. And I've heard you say this before. You have your 3 things up there, but I've heard you say souls before sales.
Yeah.
And I want the viewers of this to really hear that, because I think, and I want them to hear, and I know it's a little bit of repeat, but I want them to hear from you again what souls before sales means.
Yeah.
Because it's powerful.
Thank you. I mean, in the early days of the business, we weren't making it. We were not making bills. It was terrifying, very stressful. I had a home that there was, we were going to lose our home if we didn't make the bills. And I was praying fervently, passionately, God, we need sales, we need sales, we need sales. And it was just like an arrow hit me. I was like, do you care about souls, people? Do you care about people as much as you care about sales?
Yeah.
And that was I was struck. I was like, being honest, I was more worried about sales than I was worried about people. So it was one of those moments where I had to take a step back and go like this. Like, okay, I'm gonna do what's right. I'm gonna work really hard in changing people's lives. That's where my hashtag, if I were to choose one, would be impact. Like if I can impact each individual customer in the area and way that they need to be impacted in their health, then the sales will take care of themselves. So that's where that started. And then building that into our wellness consultant team of these consultations and providing time for that, because every model wouldn't work to provide a 40-minute consultation.
Yeah.
And so our team now is so unified and they each do it differently. There's different personalities. And I'll see these amazing consultations going on with, Barb coming in. I'm struggling, with playing piano because I got chronic pain and arthritis in my hands. And I see someone like Chris taking her by the hand and giving her a couple recommendations, comfrey cream as a topical and maybe some CBD THC as an internal. And, Barb comes back a week later, or I see it on her Facebook reviews or Google reviews, man, I can play piano again. I mean, we get those kinds of testimonies on a regular basis, and it's so rewarding to do it as a team.
Yeah. And I can just imagine, if I was you, which I'm not, you should be thankful for.
You're cooler, I'm just saying.
That, you know, someone like Barb playing piano is probably not just a hobby. It's something
It was her life. I mean, this specific example I'm thinking of, it was her big passion.
And to be able to help somebody experience their passion on a level that they hadn't experienced for a while because of, you know, the joint pain, the chronic pain that she's, that's, I mean, it just has to, that will make you feel better all day long as compared to increased sales.
Yes. I mean, you think of it from a larger scale. Like, one of my personal missions is Madison, Wisconsin has the longest life expectancy in the United States. And part of the reason that that's true is because of the Healthy Place. We're helping people live higher quality of life and live longer. And another passion is, hey, Madison, Wisconsin, they're taking the least amount of pharmaceutical drugs in the United States. And part of the reason of that is because of the Healthy Place. Like, we're helping people stay pain-free and less stressed and feeling better where they don't need to be as medicated.
Yeah.
So though it gets more exciting as I go because we keep getting better at what we're doing. You know, you learn what works good, better, best, and then as a team, we recommend that more.
Tim, I want to thank you for taking the time this morning to go through everything, tell us your story. Every time I have a conversation with you, not only do I walk away ready to like just set the world on fire, but I'm also, my mind is like just, you know, you say, you probably don't even realize it, dude. You probably don't even realize that you're saying things that make people's minds start to think about what they're doing and how they're experiencing the world in different ways. But you have a tremendous influence in people's lives.
Thank you.
You know, and yes, I do the WWTD. What would Tim do? So,
oh man.
Yeah, so I thank you very much for, you know, just laying it all out there. And I hope your business continues to flourish. And I hope that the people that, you know, continue to think about coming here actually come here. And
well, thank you.
Obviously, the ones that are coming, they're going to keep coming.
Thank you. I mean, thanks for having me. It's super fun to impact people. And you do it in what you do. And I've learned from you and your passion for people that we can just be more vulnerable as a community. Like, if I can be vulnerable and help other people be more vulnerable, it's your same belief, it's going to help people. And life is a gift, and health is a gift, and we need to remind people of that.
Yeah. So, in the spirit of vulnerability, thanks, man. That's a wrap.